It's August, and you might be thinking that things are slowing down here in the garden, but it's actually just the opposite. Hey everyone, you're in the garden with Patrick. We're still in triple digits if you believe that. And if you think about things in your garden area, whatever zone that you're in, there is still time to start your fall garden, but you can actually plant some of your spring vegetables right now in this time frame. I'm going to show you which vegetables you can plant now in August and still have a very fruitful harvest in the fall. So you can plant various types of seeds. You can plant seeds that you're buying from a seed store or online or at your local big box store or nursery, but you can also use seeds that you've saved over the years, and you can plant those in your garden also. So I'm using a combination of both, but again, I suggest that use whatever method that you'd like to use. You can plant them directly into the soil, especially right now because the soil temperature is nice and warm. And what happens is those soil temperatures will help germinate those seeds fairly quickly. You can see the hummingbird in the background there. I'll put at the end of this video, I'll put a nice little montage of the hummingbirds that it's very interesting in how they have a little territory that they try to protect their flowers. So you might see this guy kind of swooping down because he thinks that I'm going to be taking his nectar away. So there's another one. So they kind of fight. Anyway, so we're going to show you my top vegetables that I'm going to be planting this year. So there's really no difference between your fall garden and your spring garden in the regards of your planting of the seeds. You're going to plant them exactly the same way as the seed packet tells you, or generally how you're going to be doing your seeds. But the difference is going to be, most importantly, is the type of plants that you're going to plant. And so I'm going to go over a few of my favorite ones that I'm going to do, but you plant whatever works in your zone and whatever you feel like is going to work for you. Now, here's my first biggest tip. Don't think that you can't plant certain varieties or certain plants at certain times, because all you have to do really is you're just going to look at your seed packet, and I'm going to show you on this cauliflower here. On the seed packet, it tells you how many days. So this is going to tell you 60 days to harvest. We're in August now, so if we plant today, in 60 days, September, end of September, beginning of October, it's going to be already ready to harvest. So, and actually, a lot of these varieties that we're going to be planting are going to do very well in the cooler weather. So the first thing that you're going to do when you are planting your fall garden is you want to find the first frost date in your area, in your zone. So what you're going to look at first is, I'll put a link in the description box below for how you can find your first frost date and maybe even what zone you're in. I'll put a link below on there. But that's the most important thing. And then when you're planting your seeds, you're going to count backwards from that time frame. So all of your seed packets will have how many days to harvest. And so, for example, this spinach that I'm looking at is 25 days for harvest. And actually, this variety will actually go through the winter, and you can even harvest some during the winter, depending on what zone you're in. But some traditional things that we usually plant in the fall that are much easier than planting in the spring, such as your brassicas, your broccolis, also cauliflower. Those kinds of things do great in the fall, way better than your spring garden. But you can also plant things like green beans during the fall season, because again, the harvest time is 55 days. So you plant those today, and you're going to end up having green beans in 55 days, way before the frost time comes. So look at the seed packets. That's the most important thing. If you have time, plant it now, and you'll be able to harvest even better than you were in the spring in some cases. And in my case, because it's been so hot lately, we're probably going to have a lot better luck in the fall than we are in the springtime with our garden. So again, some traditional things that we typically will plant, such as your broccoli and cauliflower, maybe Brussels sprouts, but some non-traditional that you think maybe not you're going to be able to plant would be something as simple as cucumbers. You can plant cucumbers now at this time. The germination and harvest time is actually not very long at all. Again, it's around that 60-day time frame. So you can look at those kinds of things. This particular Armenian cucumber that I'm looking at here that I'm going to plant is 55 days. So you can get a good harvest in 30, 60 days or so. So look at your seed packet. Again, here's another one that's non-traditional. It's going to be your zucchini squash. Okay, so I have two different varieties that I'm going to be planting. This is 48 days to harvest. So again, you can still plant a lot of your vegetables now in the fall that you would normally plant in the spring. So I would like you to try that. Put in the comments below what you're planting, and maybe that you learned something today as far as how you can plant these different plants in the fall that you didn't even think that you could plant in the spring. I'll put a list in the description box below of all of the different varieties of seeds that I'm going to be planting and vegetables this year in the fall, in August. So besides the typical ones that we just talked about, the cucumbers, your squashes, and cucumbers, as we talked about, I'm also going to be planting some chives. Again, chives are something that you can actually do all year round. You can plant those and put those in your maybe in a windowsill, if depending on what zone you're in and if it's a little cooler. But chives, you can grow those chives all year round. And I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of how I'm going to do that in a separate video. I wanted to get this video out to you now so you can start your planning and planting. I'll put in the description box a couple of different videos that I've done before on planting onions and on how to use some different containers that you don't think traditionally would be used for your pots. So I'll put a link in the description box below on those. But also, if you want to subscribe to the channel, make sure that you subscribe and hit that like button and the notification bell, and you'll be notified every time I put out these videos. So what I'm planting this year is going to be spinach. I'm going to plant a couple of different varieties of spinach. Spinach grows great, especially, it's a spring and a fall, but seems to do much better in the fall. My spinach does. So I'm going to plant spinach. We're going to do some arugula. So arugula is great for putting in your salads. You can put that in with different dishes that you're doing. I'm planting several different varieties of carrots. I have a couple of different varieties that I'm going to try out this year. I'll put a link in how to do carrots also. You can tell it's a little windy here, which is not usual, but hopefully we're going to get some rain. But it's been like 47 days of 100-degree weather here in El Paso. I'm going to also be planting onions. Onions are great to plant in the fall. They're 100 days, but you can also, sometimes they will survive depending on what zone you're in during the winter. So you can try that. Another one that I'm going to be planting is cabbage. Cabbage is going to be something that will take only 60 days, and that should do well. Snow peas are awesome. I have some trellises back here, if you can see, that we're going to use these snow peas. They're going to trellis up there, and that's going to do really well. It also helps put some nitrogen back into the ground. And then, of course, I told you about broccoli. We're going to be doing broccoli, green beans, and my cucumbers. So that's what we're going to be planting this year in my fall garden. And again, I'll put a link of or the description of all the ones that I'm going to be planting this year. Herb garden is great. Cilantro is great to be putting now. Again, you won't get a huge harvest of the cilantro or huge plants before it does freeze. But again, you can have some cilantro, again, put it in a pot, and you can bring that indoors. So I'm using kale also from my previous garden that I saved the seeds from, and also some basil. Basil is great. So any of your herbs do really well. Parsley, parsnips. If you like radishes or any of those types of root vegetables, those do really well in the fall also. So let's talk about planting in the fall, a variety of different things that you can do. And I really encourage you to start trying to plant in the fall. It's a lot of fun and very easy to do. And we've talked about when you plant your vegetables, you can plant either in a container, or you can plant them directly into your raised bed garden or whatever type of garden that you do have. So if you want to subscribe to the channel, I'll show you some different links of how we're going to do that. All of these things that we talked about today, I'm going to put links and future videos out on how we are planting all of these vegetables so that you have a good understanding of those. But I do want you to encourage you to start finding something that you want to plant small. If you want to just plant 2 or 3 varieties of something, or you can go big and plant a lot of variety of stuff in both containers and your raised bed gardens. And as always, if you do have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I answer all of my questions or that I get directly and within 24 hours. So if you have any questions on gardening or you'd like to subscribe, please hit that subscribe button, and we'll give you as much information as I can on gardening in not only the Southwest, but any zone that you live in. So start your fall garden now, and you will be very happy in a couple of months with the results from your fall garden. Until next time, happy gardening.